You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Bmi Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show.
Road that has not one side.
I love it. I can't dance to this one.
Oh, you can't really dance to this song, but we are not really in the dancing mood.
He's so cute.
That is I Need an Angel by Ruben Studdard. And for those of you that have seen the episode, you know very well why we are playing that. We are doing season 15, episode 4 of The Biggest Loser. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Lauren Mendoza, and I'm joined by
McKenzie Fayne.
Oh, I'm just so sad.
He's so cute.
He is so cute. But before we get to Ruben's sad departure on today's show, let's start from the very beginning of today's episode. We start up with Tanya, who we saw last episode, be saved.
I know.
We can cut the song now, Steven. It's just making me so sad.
He's keeping it to make us start crying right now. Thanks, Steven.
Thanks, Steven. Oh, gosh. Anyways, talking about Tanya, let's focus on Tanya. I love Tanya.
She's crying in the beginning, having a little issue.
Well, we're seeing her come right off of the weigh-in where she was just saved by Dalvet. And you could just kind of see the weight of what just happened. The fact that she put so much into that week and didn't lose anything. Seeing that just really weigh on her. And then, the whole team is kind of sitting around there and they're noticing that as well. But they're already 4 weeks in, everybody's really bonding, and they're such a great support group for her. So you kind of just see her really taking all of that in.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it was appropriate. And, at the same time, David, her team member, just said, I feel so bad for Tanya, because you can so understand where she's coming from and why she's upset about it. And it's sad, but she needs to toughen up and get through it.
Yeah, and I think that's what she was trying to do. I think, we see her in this week really kind of focusing on that, knowing that now she's going into this week where she has so much to prove. And you're right. I mean, anybody can relate to, or most of us anyways, can relate to working so hard for something and pushing yourself and feeling like you've made so much progress, or feeling hopeful, like you're going to get something, or you know what I mean, that you're going to get something that you've worked so hard for. You're going to see, an accomplishment from that, and then not having that and just the disappointment. And that's what you're seeing with Tanya, and I think everybody just really feels for her.
Exactly. And I mean, with weight, I don't really know how much that really works in losing weight and everything, but it seems like just such a tricky thing. You never really know. It's not, they don't do it very scientifically with the things on their arms and all this stuff, so they don't know. And getting on that scale for the first time is such a shock for them. So I can't imagine not knowing all week up until the weigh-in is just crazy.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about weight loss, is that, it's a simple equation in one way. You want to burn more calories than what you're taking in, and that's going to create a deficit, right? It seems very simple, and it usually is, but I think everybody's body is different. You're going through different things at different times. Like sometimes you're retaining more water, and you don't usually know that, and that can really throw your results.
And I feel like in women, and, Tanya just had to take the brunt of this kind of storm with women, your weight fluctuates all the time. Like, you can wake up and be 2 pounds heavier, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I think that's everybody. But anyway, so we know Tanya, she's really going to kind of go into this week with a lot to prove. We see the contestants go right into the Halloween challenge. It's their very first temptation challenge. And the way this complicated challenge goes is they're at a pumpkin patch, and basically one by one, each person from their team is going to go out and they can pick up whatever pumpkin they want, okay? And in this pumpkin, there's going to be one of three things, and they're looking for one thing. There's either going to be a treat, chocolate, candy, something. There's going to be cash, which they can keep for themselves if they get it. Or what they're actually looking for is immunity, and there's immunity in only one pumpkin. So the first team to get immunity wins for their entire team. So, if whoever it was that ends up picking it up, they win it for their entire team. The interesting thing with the treat, and this is why it's a temptation challenge, is because if you pick up a pumpkin that has chocolate in it, you have the choice of eating it or saying no. However, if you say no, your entire team is out of the challenge. So you couldn't win immunity,
Mm-hmm. I would have hid M&Ms under my tongue or something, not swallowed them.
And then kept going and just kept keeping it all in your cheeks or something. That would have been really funny. I wish somebody would have done that. Could you imagine?
I would have.
I don't know how you would have really been able to do that, but that would have been kind of great. So they go right into this challenge, and Chelsea's the lucky one. The first thing she picks is $500 for herself.
I know.
She's all excited about that. But, as we get into it, more and more people are definitely picking chocolate. And in the beginning, it's interesting because you hear, oh, that's 80 calories. Oh, that's 70 calories. And they're like, oh, that's no big deal. I can take that. Then you get into the candy bar. It's 250 calories. And it was really funny because I don't remember who it was that was oh, I kind of hope I can pick up a piece of chocolate. Chelsea? Oh, the one that picks $500.
I was great, that mentality is going to go far on this.
Well, I just think it's funny because I could totally get it. She's I haven't had chocolate in so long. I kind of just want to get a piece of chocolate just so I can have it. And then she gets the money. But then it was so funny because then you have somebody like Holly, and Holly picks up, I don't even know what kind of candy it was, but they said it was a chocolate wafer at 250 calories. She eats it, and she's like, I hate this kind of candy.
Oh, it was so funny. Ruben was like, this is the nastiest candy I've ever tasted.
No, Ruben picked up pumpkin pie.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he was. He's like, I don't like pumpkin pie, And he's like, what? Anybody heard of a sweet potato? And it was just really funny that, they never get to eat sweets, and then the one time they pick up something, it happens to be something they hate. I would be so pissed.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, if I'm going to eat this, I really want it to be something I like, which I'm not very picky when it comes to chocolate pie and sweets.
Chocolate's addicting. Did you know that?
Of course.
Oh, I didn't know that up until a few weeks ago.
Scientifically,
seriously,
what is in it that's addictive? I mean, isn't sugar addicting?
No, there's something specifically in chocolate,
caffeine,
chocolate, that is addicting, and it has an addictive. I'll have to figure that out for next week.
Could be caffeine.
I don't know.
I just don't know how much caffeine would be in chocolate to make it addictive.
Well, Kathy Kelly told me it has an addictive quality.
I don't doubt that. I think lots of things have an addictive quality. So the challenge goes on and on and on, and it's really funny. So we get to Toomey's going out and Hap is going out, and Toomey's aiming for this one pumpkin. Hap happens to pick it up.
Like a football player pushes it out of the way.
Pretty much. He happens to get it, and just as he pulls out a candy bar and she's feeling lucky, he opens the candy bar, and sure enough, it's immunity for the entire blue team. And the blue team, they have got it coming because they have been lucky this entire competition. I know we're only 4 weeks in, but really, they haven't lost a weigh-in at all. Bob hasn't had to use any of his saves.
Yep.
They still have their entire team. I mean, I kind of hate them for that.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't really want it to be them. I wanted it to be either the red or the white team just because
they're the underdogs at this point.
Well, I feel like the white team is really the underdogs. I feel like the red team had a hard week and they could have used it. I don't know. But the blue team wins.
I don't know who I could say would be the underdog because
I think it's Jillian's team. I feel like she doesn't have the strongest people on her team. You know, Bob has 2 athletes on his team. Delvette, I don't know, maybe, I guess, I don't know who necessarily on Delvette's team is really a standout. Maybe it's just because we see they've been focusing on them as characters more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I didn't want it to be the blue team, even though I love Bob. They've just been too lucky. Oh, well, they get immunity. So, you know, as they usually do, the teams then get to see their trainers and tell them kind of what's happened. As Jillian's talking to the white team and asking them, you know, what's the damage, it kind of just went from like lower to higher in terms of calories, like how many calories they took in. And who was it, Jay? Was it Jay who took in like almost 1,000 calories?
Yeah, and I think it was Craig that had like 74 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but she's interesting because they're saying, oh, I took in 350 calories, and she's like, oh, that's nothing. And really, I think because of the work that they're doing and the amount of, you know, time they're putting into the gym and how they're eating, yeah, 350 calories, that's fine. We're going to knock that right off. But I think for a normal person, we tend to forget that 350 calories, if we're not working out 6 hours a day, even if you work out for 1 hour, you could probably, as long as you're working out intensely, you could burn that off. But it's like, why do you want to eat like a candy bar and have to put in like an hour of intense exercise for that?
Yeah. It's just, what really clarified to me with this whole challenge was the fact of like calories just build up and build up. Like when you're eating a bag of chips and you just keep going,
I know, right?
You know, and if you're at the grocery store and you're in line and you grab a Snickers and you start eating it and you're like, oh my God, it was so good, let me get another one. And then like you eat another one on the way home and you're like, oh my God, let me stop at the gas station. Is that what you do? I've had my moments.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. They definitely add up. We don't know. That's why for some people counting calories really works. You know, putting it all down on paper, because we tend to do that. Like take a bite of something, or, you know.
And what was that great calculator you showed me last week?
Oh, the BMI calculator.
That is
Body
awesome.
Mass Index. Did you use it?
I didn't yet.
Okay, that's
probably
fine.
should have, but it was awesome, and it's such a great idea because what you do is you put your weight, height,
and your gender.
And your age in.
And your age. And I think depending on which one you find, you can also put in like, it'll ask your activity level. So if you have a job like myself where, you know, some days I'm sitting most of the days, some days I'm running around, like it kind of varies. You can kind of rate your activity level for some of the calculators. Yes. And it'll give you an even better idea of how many calories you burn a day based on, you know, those stats. And therefore you can do the math and say, okay, well, if I want to maintain this weight, I want to keep eating this many calories. If I want to lose weight, you know, I just need to create a deficit, and you can kind of plan your meals accordingly. Mm-hmm. So
I just thought it was so cool how it just tells you the amount of calories you should be intaking each day. So it's a nice little guideline for you. So go check it out.
It's because you're pretty active. You exercise every day. Yeah. So you want to account for that when you're filling that stuff out, because you could probably eat more calories than somebody who like never really works out. Mm-hmm. Even if you're the same age, same height, even if you're the same weight, you know, your metabolism is going to be faster. Yeah. So it's just an interesting thing to check out. So getting back into these weigh-ins. So, you know, at this point, Bob's team is safe, so red and white, they're kind of going head to head, and I think all the contestants are really feeling the pressure of this, and they're realizing, okay, I ate this many calories, I need to kill it in the gym. Or you have people like Tanya who's like, I really need to prove myself. Ruben, I only lost 3 pounds last week, so I really need to do everything I can. And you're seeing people just kind of go into the gym late at night, and they're working out when nobody else is working out, and you really, I don't know, I really felt like this was going to be a good competition at the final weigh-in. Yeah. I don't know. We see Bob's team, and Bob, they cut to like all these weightlifters outside in tutus and all kinds of things, all these female weightlifters. And I thought this was really interesting. Bob wanted to focus on Holly. Bob is like kind of in love with Holly, like loves having her on his team. Like, I think Bob looks up to her, you know? Yeah, that's what it seems like. And I mean, he says it. He's like, I'm so excited that we have Holly on our team, and this workout is really inspired by her. And he wanted to prove a point to her. He wanted to prove that you could be smaller and be stronger at the same time.
See, that's what I was trying to get. She said she was scared to lose weight because she wasn't sure if she was going to be as strong. Was that her point?
I guess, like, maybe, I don't Yeah, I mean, that's what she said, but I don't really understand that either.
When I was told this before, when you're in wrestling, there's like weight classes.
Yeah.
And so maybe she wanted to be in the heavier weight class, so she had to like lift a different amount. So if she was smaller, she'd have like it'd be harder for her maybe.
I don't know. Anybody that's out there that understands this sport, give us a call. I mean, you could be right. I know she did say, you know, she was kind of afraid of losing weight because she didn't want to jeopardize maybe her strength.
Yep.
But that's not really the case. And so Bob's point, he showed, you know, all these female weightlifters that are there, they're 165 pounds and they're still competing. You know, I don't know that any of them are Olympian athletes, but he wanted to show her that you could still get down to that weight and still be competing. And she even said that if she went down to that weight, she would be in a different class, but she would still be able to compete. So I don't know. So that it gives everybody the opportunity on the team to really try out that new workout, which I thought was kind of exciting. We see Holly really like get into it.
Oh my God, I was devastated. I literally think I slapped your arms really hard, and I was like, so she brings up the weight, and like everybody thinks it's going to be like a aha moment.
They flip it. The way they lift it is like they pick it up, and then they flip their arms up, like to right by their shoulders, for those of you that are listening on iTunes.
Oh my God.
And when she flipped it up, she missed catching it in her hand, so the bar just landed.
Dropped on her neck.
Like right on her neck and like the collarbone area, just kind of, she caught it like that without her hands.
She crushed her trachea.
She yelled something. She did not crush her trachea. She could have, but she did not.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, I think. It really was.
Well, you really freaked out, and the only reason I did not is because I imagine in her training, that's happened to her before.
Yeah, and that's what you said. But I don't know. It's just like, you know those shows like Ridiculousness where they break their ankles at the same time? It was like one of those moments for me to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if that was us and we did that, we probably would have like fallen over and then squished our necks. It would have been a bad situation. Yeah. But I think she's had the training to where when that happens.
Yeah, and then she brought it up and it was great. So
yeah, and then it was fantastic. I know. So the blue team just kind of, they get a fun workout, but they also don't have the stress of winning this weigh-in, which is kind of nice. Then you see Dalvette's team, and Dalvette is like killing them, basically.
They're all passed out practically.
They're all like dizzy, falling over. Ruben's like almost vomiting.
But he's still smiling. We have to remember that.
He would like smile, or he would vomit through his smile. I guarantee it.
Do you want to demonstrate that?
No, not at all. But yeah, Ruben's still smiling, but Tanya's like on the ground, dizzy, could barely stand up. And all of them are saying like this is the hardest they've ever worked out. So I don't know, we're seeing the fourth week in that this is their most challenging workout.
But then Dalvette says this is not the point where they can break down.
Yeah.
Like they can't. And I'm just like, yeah, because they can't.
You can't. You have no choice.
Keep going.
Yeah. And Dalvette's so great. He doesn't yell at them. I don't really know how he does it, but, you know, they push through. Like I said, we saw Ruben kind of continue to work out when nobody else was, so he was really pushing himself. Tanya was really pushing herself. They were like killing themselves.
Yeah. And, you know I praise Dalvette every week, but I want to just say, another thing that I love about him, which is so important in this whole competition, is making a comfortable atmosphere for these people working out. And he does. He wipes their faces when they're sweating, you know, comes over, bends down, like gives them a little motivational speech. And like he's making a little safe haven, a little, you know what I mean, for them. And it's just so nice to see because they must feel so comfortable being there.
Well, and I think they have to, and I think they know that. And I think all of the trainers know that. And the reason why is because they know that these contestants gained this weight, and they are here because of a deeper issue. It wasn't just an addiction to food, you know, because as you talk to each one of them, they all have these really heavy issues that weigh down on them, or a time in their life when something tragic happened where their weight started to build up and started to creep on, and they started to turn to food. And so all these trainers know that. And I think they have to create this safe haven and this place of trust, because part of this journey is them letting that go. And if they're not trusting their trainer and being able to let that go with them, then they might not have a chance at letting it go at all.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You know, over the past whatever amount of years, everybody has been saying, like, America's the fat, you know, whatever, where obesity is going up. So, you know, it is, there's always an underlying little secret or issue in these people. So do you think there's just more depression in the world? Is there more like...
Well, you know, I wouldn't say that. I mean, we can't really make that generalization. You don't really know. But I would say, you know, Americans were some of the hardest workers we have. I was actually talking to somebody about this. We work the longest hours. We have the least amount of vacation time. There's what we all call the American dream that everybody strives to get. And I think there's just, people put a lot more pressure on themselves. Again, you know, it's a generalization, but it's what the country's like known for, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I hate that we don't get as much vacation time, and I hate that we work the longest hours. I'm like, we have our priorities totally wrong. We put our job and success sometimes before we put our family, our health, and our well-being, and this is why we suffer from that.
So what has changed in the world? What do you think, if you had to...
You mean that got us to this point?
Yeah, because all of a sudden, I mean, I don't know, I'm young, so I've just got into this whole world of it, but you know, for the past few years or whatever it is, it's just been obesity, America, and McDonald's.
But see, that's the thing. I think it's new. Maybe you're hearing it as new, but I don't think, like, I think this has been happening. Like, this has been for many years, because McDonald's has been around for a long time, but they have McDonald's in other countries. You know, it's just, I think it's part of our mentality. Mentality
and just, you know, laziness, because if people, there are people that choose not to eat these things, McDonald's every day or whatever it is. So why do people keep going back? Just because it's easy? Like, it's easy. Like I said, I mean, people are working longer hours. They're doing more. They're pushing themselves a little bit harder. It's convenient. Okay. And it's quick and it's cheap. I mean, so that's why people go to this stuff. Like Ruben's situation, he put his dream way, way ahead of his health. And he said, you know, he has this, we'll get into his camp that the Ruben Sutter camp, but he says, like, I want to be there for my kids, but this one summer I need to take off so that I can concentrate on myself. So, yeah, I guess that's what it is. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that factor into it, but I think when you kind of generalize the country as has really dealing with obesity and being the heaviest country, I think there's a number of things that factor into that. And I just think we don't put our health first, you know, whereas other countries, you know, they get more vacation time because I think they value more family time, you know, and I don't know. That's my point of view. If you guys have any other comments to make, I'd love to hear them, because I think this is such a big issue. We could talk about it for forever. Yeah. And everybody has their own opinion on, you know, why is America the most obese country? You know, what is it? And I don't even know that there's one answer. I think there's multiple. When who is it? Toomey and Jillian are talking, it just brought that up for me. Like, every one of these people have had such a deep, and we'll get into her issues, but such a deep, emotionally draining story that we hear every week, and they're here. So that just made me think of that little. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that the problems that these contestants are facing in terms of losing a parent, you know, all these little situations that put them into this deep depression, those are things that are universal. That's not something that only Americans are dealing with. I just think it's how we're raised, you know, and people do turn to convenient food, and I think maybe in other countries that's not how they deal with certain issues. It's, who knows? Like, there's so many options and so many reasons why we've gotten to where we are. And I think we're kind of just scratching the surface. But true. Yeah, that's a good question, McKenzie. So any of you guys that are tuning in on iTunes, that are tuning in on YouTube,
please comment. Let us know what you think, because like we said, this is a bigger issue, you know, and that's what the show is all about, is kind of bringing light to this and showing people that they can do it, you know, and having these trainers that are motivational. They're not just there to make you exercise. They're there to help guide you even emotionally. You know, I think everybody really needs that. So you're right. We go to see the white team. We see Jillian working out. And to me, I guess she's just not really getting from her what she really wants. And she's noticing when she's boxing with her, Toomey has a really defensive stance. Like, she's not really a fighter, not really sticking up for herself, and not really giving it her all. And she pulls Toomey out of the gym and, you know, just calls her out on it. Like, I know there's a deeper issue. I know there's another reason why you're here. And Toomey just breaks down and talks about how she grew up with no parents. You know, her father left her mother and her sisters at a young age. Her mother then got remarried, and when Toomey was 14, her mother was diagnosed with cancer and died. And that already is just such a heartbreaking story. Then on top of that, her stepdad, who she and her siblings were obviously left with, decided to leave and only take his kids with them and not theirs. And I thought, the first thing that came to my mind, I thought, oh my God, if Toomey's mom is up there looking down on this and sees that the man that she chose to spend the rest of her life with, that she merged families with, chose to leave her kids behind, like, how horrible is that?
Terrible. What I thought of when I heard it, like, how do you look at a 14-year-old little baby girl and say, I'm sorry, but I'm taking my kids and you and your brother or sister aren't coming with me?
Yeah,
like,
and I don't know if she had older siblings or if they were all younger. I kind of thought they were younger, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you do. And Toomey said that, you know, at that time they asked to stay with friends and they just were kind of on their own. And I cannot even imagine that feeling, because I just would think she felt so unwanted. You know, first you feel so broken and unlucky that you are somebody that loses your mom at such a young age and loses your dad that willingly leaves, and then you have a stepdad that does the same thing. I mean, it's just horrible.
The male role models aren't really there.
Well, so she didn't have them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of talks about how, you know, after her mother's after her mother's death and her stepfather leaving, that's where it all began. That's where it began for her.
And if you think about it, she's 41 years old. She's been living with this for how many years?
I know.
So for the biggest loser for her is such a blessing, and just, I mean, it is a long time coming, but it's just going to lift everything off her, which she needs, and she's deserving of it.
And that's what, you know, Jillian's really trying to stress to her, is just allow yourself to be angry. You can be upset. You know, be angry with them. Be angry with the people that, you know, have hurt you, and allow those feelings to be there and accept them and embrace them, because until you do, you're not going to be able to let go of them.
Yep, because unlike Tanya last week, her issue was that she had too much anger and she was just holding it there.
Yeah.
And so she couldn't move. But with Toomey, she
it's like
couldn't
she's
even
ignoring
punch
it.
Yeah, she's ignoring it, so it's interfering with everything else. She couldn't even punch the punching bag. She had no aggression, she said, and it's sad to know that, but at the same time that Jillian's opening her up and just,
well, and I loved how her response, I mean, very simple, but for some reason it stood out to me when Jillian said, allow yourself to be angry. Toomey really quickly replied, thank you. And I just thought that was an interesting response to me, because I felt like she was actually thanking Jillian, like somebody needed to allow her to feel that way.
Because she said, after I gained all this weight, I had no family anymore. Yeah. And so she had nobody to really, you know, put any of the weight on.
And to tell her that it's okay.
Yes.
And I think that's something she needed to hear. And I think that's why she thanked Jillian, because I think she never felt like it was okay to acknowledge that she was angry. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe she always felt like she needed to put it behind her and pretend like it didn't happen and do that. But, I mean, you can't live with that.
No.
Yeah. But, you know, after we saw their talk, we didn't really see much of her going back into the gym and kind of I mean, sometimes, like, after Tanya, I feel like after we saw her talk, she goes back in the gym and then she's, like, really trying to kill it. We didn't really see that so much with Toomey, but, you know, she's still in the game, so maybe we're going to see more of her to come, and I really hope for her sake. I feel like she's one of those people that needs to be there, because I don't think, like, I think Tanya, for example, I want her to be there. I still think she needs to be there, but she seems to have a stronger personality to me that later on in the competition, she might be able to leave and have more confidence and be able to do it on her own. Toomey's one of those people where I'm like, I think she needs to be there, because if she were to go home right now, I don't think she's in a place that she would do it on her own.
Yes, I definitely agree. What I loved about Delvette, obviously. I loved how he worked. He has his workouts outside, and Jillian's were inside. I noticed that, and
Jillian is usually inside the gym.
Is she? Because
you're right. I didn't really think about that, but now that you mention it, she is.
It just seems like a better atmosphere to be in for such a long amount of time and working out. So I liked that.
Yeah, I liked all that. And Bob does the same thing. He takes them out kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Jillian, you'll see it every now and then. But I think it's good to get like a change of pace, and they do need to be consistently changing up their workouts to really kind of throw their body. You don't want your body to get used to the same move all the time.
Yeah, the plateau.
Yeah. So I do love how Delvette does that.
I loved the sand pit, and they ran in the sand. Tanya was doing a hell of a job in there.
I know. They were so cute. And then after we see kind of all of them work out, we cut to
Mail.
No, before that, before the letters from the family, we get a little surprise look at our old friend Bingo, who was on. He was one of the child ambassadors from last season, and he's the one that, I'm sorry, everybody loved. Like, we all loved Bingo. Bingo has the cutest personality. Bingo needs to be a host here at AfterBuzz. Bingo needs to have a very successful career on television. He's probably going to be like a motivational speaker.
Really? See, I need to watch his little...
Yeah, he was fantastic. So we got to see Bingo, and he is looking better than he did the last time we saw him on last season, the last time we saw him on the finale. He looks amazing. He's lost a ton of weight, and the best thing about Bingo's story, not just that he has the most positive attitude, the attitude that you need to continue living an active lifestyle, but he got his family involved, and we saw him get his family involved last season. And they really stuck with it. His parents looked amazing. His mom has lost over 80 pounds. His dad's lost over 100. And they said combined as a family, they've lost about 300 pounds. I mean, it's amazing what they've done. And we just continue to see Bingo's success. He's eating healthy. He's exercising. We saw him boxing. And I thought it was really cute because the mom points out that he doesn't have time for video games, which that was his thing, was video games. Like, he would... video games and like eat while he played video games, and he could be playing video games for like 7 hours a day.
Oh my God.
I don't even know where the 7 hours a day came from.
Well, I have a little brother, and he's obsessed with his little Xbox, so he'll run downstairs as soon as he gets home from football or school and go on his video game. So I get it.
Gosh, you got to get that, McKenzie. You got to kick that in the butt.
No, he's good. He's really...
Okay, good. He's active?
He's active. He's a little tall thing and lean, so...
Okay, well, good.
He's good.
Yeah, so it was good to see Bingo. So we've yet to see Sunny. So I imagine we'll see her in some of the upcoming episodes, and we'll be able to talk about her then. And then we get to what you were talking about.
Mail.
Mail, letters from the family. So cute. It reminds me of when I went on, like, retreats in high school, and you would get, like... letters from your family. I thought that was really
I went to Nature's Classroom in 6th grade.
Nature's Classroom?
Yeah, it was a thing.
Never heard of that. Okay.
You go for like 2 days, and your parents send you mail, but I don't even think they really send it in the mail. I think you kind of secretly
give it to the teacher.
Because it's not even enough time to get there, but we all like freaked out. We got it because we were in 6th grade. So that's what it reminded me of. But it was so cute because we see the laughter and the joy that just a piece of paper can bring to these people.
And the tears, lots of tears.
Yes.
I mean, that was really cute. I loved, the first one they showed was Craig, and he was talking about his little daughter, who right now is using her little foam phone to pretend like she's talking to daddy. And I'm just like, she was a little baby. They say she takes this little phone with her in the car, wherever she goes, and she tells people, I'm talking to daddy. And I'm like, that is just so cute.
I know.
So cute. And then we see Ruben, and he just breaks into tears when he sees that his mom has given him a bunch of letters from the kids at his music camp that he hosts every summer, I suppose.
I loved his little comment. He's like, it's really a boost, man. Like, it is, Ruben.
Ruben, you're a boost. I love him so much.
Me too.
And the fact that he does that for people. You know, Ruben, let's be honest, he's not the most famous celebrity, and he hasn't been since he won American Idol. But it seems like he puts this music camp before anything else. He puts it before his own career, and you could see how much it means to him. So he was crying, you know, reading some of the letters from those kids and missing them and wishing that he could be there. Then we see Tanya, and that was kind of hysterical.
Kind of
hysterical. Tanya starts cracking up when she sees that her friend is asking her if she has squeezed Velvet's butt yet. I love it.
That was so funny.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen much of her crush. I kind of want to see more.
I think about it every time she's on the ground, pale and like about to pass out.
About to pass out, about to throw up.
Do you like me now, Velvet?
I know, right? And your crush is like standing over you with his like amazing smile.
That crush must be gone, because you can't look like that and be like that in front of a crush.
No,
like,
and your sweat, like she's got wet marks all around her t-shirt and everything. Man, that would put you in your place real quick if you had a crush on somebody, right?
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, you tend to see a lot of laughing going on. And like I said this last episode when we saw them Skype a lot with their family members. They are getting a lot of family action this season. And we have not really seen that in the past. Like, it used to be a reward. It used to be something that they worked for. It was like, if you win this challenge, you get letters from your family. If you win this challenge, you get a day. We're bringing your husband. I don't remember which contestant was. We bring your husband to the ranch for a day, and you get to spend the day with him. And I mean, there wasn't a lot of Skyping going on. So I want to know what the reason is behind this for this season. Is it like a strategic thing? Do they think it might actually benefit them and make them lose more weight? Or maybe it's just for the added drama. We only have an hour episode. Maybe they want to bring a little bit more drama into these episodes. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
So if anybody thinks of any other ideas, comment.
Yeah, let us know. Anybody? I think some of our viewers have some of the inside scoop, and they're not saying they have the inside scoop, but I think
Bring
they
it
do.
on. We want to hear it.
Let's get the exclusive. That's what we want. Yeah, speaking of YouTube, we had Average John who made a comment on our last episode, and I kind of love that Average John is pointing this out to us. And this could be very obvious, but tell me what you think. He thinks that because, you know, there's this save element, that we could be looking at possibly a double elimination, even a triple, he said, in some of the upcoming episodes, because they might need to catch up.
Oh my gosh.
On letting people go.
Didn't even think of that.
And maybe a triple because the season started one episode late. Like, we were supposed to start a week earlier, and then they pushed the season premiere for some reason.
And everything's an hour.
Everything's an hour.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that, Average John. Great.
Serious. Good tip. So anybody else that has some insider tips, please fill us in on YouTube. You don't need to give yourself away if you're not supposed to be sharing inside tips, but go right ahead.
Put it on
Just
there.
give us a little hint. Awesome. So then, after all of that, we get...
Well, I did want to say...
Go ahead.
We see Ruben doing his little laps in the pool, which I loved.
Yes.
And we haven't really said anything about Jay's hips.
Oh, yes.
That are killing him.
They're killing him, but he's, like, in the gym by himself running on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he in the pool?
Yeah.
Your hips are hurting you. Why be on the treadmill? That's my question.
Yeah. Well, I just thought we should share that because we found that little bit of information today.
Yeah. And that's when I know we saw him also in the gym doing the row machine. And that's probably why Jillian was kind of telling him, you know, use more of your upper body.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's they're trying to be really strategic with his workouts, but I'm kind of concerned because, you know, he's still in the game, and the more he goes, the longer he gets into this competition, I wonder if the more he'll kind of suffer from that and what that could lead to. Because if he injures himself, and we've seen it happen on the show, if people really injure themselves, it shuts down their workout. And if you are limited to, let's say, only the pool, which we have seen before on The Biggest Loser, I mean, it's really hard to meet the weight loss of some of the other contestants. You know, it's really hard to compete. So,
but that's why
I'm a little concerned for him.
And I love the team thing, because you can just see that everybody has each other's back, and that you know, if Jay does have some hip issues and he's out for a day or whatever it is and he needs to rest, I have no doubts that everyone else is gonna pull together the white team.
Yeah. However, when you have a red line, it doesn't matter if they pull together.
True. I always forget that damn red line.
Yeah. If you have a red line and he has the lowest percentage, they might, of course, want to save him. If they had the voting option, he might not even be the one they vote out. But if they have a red line, they don't have a say. So you never know.
Is the red line every week?
I don't think so. I think as we get deeper into the competition, they'll bring in the yellow line, which is when the two players with the lowest percentages fall below, and then there's a voting. So, I mean, I feel like they haven't had so many red line episodes as they are this season, but
that's been everyone besides the first.
I know. So let's get into the weigh-in, and we'll kind of breeze right through them. The blue team, you know, they're safe, and I'm glad they're safe. And I actually forgot they were safe when we were watching this weigh-in, and I'm thinking, these aren't that great of numbers. Why isn't anybody upset?
Oh.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. Holly loses 4. Matt loses 4, Bobby loses 4, Hap and Chelsea both lose 5, which I thought for their team the biggest success was Chelsea, because that's a good amount for a female. And
she's probably the smallest woman on there.
Yeah, you're right. Then we get into the white team. There's a lot more pressure. Marie loses 4 pounds. Not the biggest number, but Jillian seemed to be okay with it. Craig pulls 7, which is awesome. Toomey pulls 7, which is awesome, I thought. Then Jay, he pulls 9. That was great.
Yeah.
Right? So they lose a total of 27 pounds, 2.4%, which brings... Go ahead.
Which is 5 pounds over the blue team already, even though...
I know. So, I think that just showed how much pressure the white team put on themselves versus the blue team. They're like, I'm going to work out, but we're safe. So
I would have thought of it as like jumping ahead. Like, oh, we have a week to not have the pressure, but we're going to work so hard so that we can be ahead next week.
But that might not be the case. It might not be the case, because each week you're just based on that week's weight loss. You know what I mean? It's not your total
I always
percentage.
Forget these little things.
Plus, they're thinking about it more as a week of rest. They never get rest. You don't know when you're going to be able to rest again, and you don't know when you're going to be able to slack off a little bit. So if there's a week to do it, it's going to be this week.
Okay, yeah.
So then we go to the red team, and because they're competing with the white, they go into this knowing they need to lose more than 35 pounds, which to me sounded like a lot. And they said, okay, if everybody loses 7 pounds, you guys are good. Rachel pulls 8, which I thought was awesome. David pulls 7. Jennifer gets up there and she pulls 6, which still, because Rachel pulled 8 at that point, they were still safe.
And at this point, there was only 14 more pounds to be lost. So, you know,
Tanya had to pull 7 and Ruben had to pull 7, or one had to pull more than the other.
Yeah, it didn't seem
to get more than 14. No, not impossible at all. And, you know, they obviously saved Tanya and Ruben for last because they were the ones on the red team that pulled lost the least amount. Ruben lost 3 pounds last week, which was not good for somebody of his size. And Tanya pulled nothing. So these two were the ones I think that were putting the most pressure on themselves this entire week, and the ones that Delvette was looking at the closest. Yeah. And everybody was, I think, on their team. Tanya goes up there, and she loses only 3 pounds, and she was so upset. Delvette was upset, but also trying to make it very obvious that he wasn't upset at her, that he saw the effort that she put in, and he said, we're going to figure this out.
At first, I was shocked what he was going to say, because he was like, I saved you last week.
I
That's
thought
how we
so,
started
too.
off. I'm like, uh-oh. Am I going to see a meme
Yeah.
all that? And then he went into saying, but that doesn't, you know, show.
And I'm glad I saved you or something like that. And together we're going to figure out what is going on inside of your body, and we're going to fix that. Ruben gets up there, and I think everybody's thinking, Ruben really pushed himself this week. He can either blow us away, or we're going to be shocked at how low it is again. And unfortunately, everybody was shocked at how low it was. He only lost 5 pounds, which then comes the red line and sends him home.
My heart
died.
stopped when they said, when I was thinking, like, can there be a favorite award that you just stay?
Can there just be somebody that everybody loves so they just keep them around?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I know. It wouldn't be a game if they did that. So I'm upset. Mackenzie's upset.
Because I don't know if the show's going to be the same anymore with his little smiles.
Without his, like, fun personality.
And he's so funny. He's the comedian of the whole show.
I know. He's so cute. So that just means everybody else in the house really needs to pick up the slack and start entertaining us, because we lost Ruben and we loved him. I'm really sad, actually. Mackenzie's sad. So I want to know if you guys are sad. What do you guys think of the weight loss? Who would you actually have wanted to go home? I know that's a horrible thing to ask, but I'm just curious.
Well, because I made a prediction. I don't think it's a bad thing, because I said I wanted Chelsea to go home because she's the smallest woman. She doesn't have that much to lose. Yeah. But at the same time, she has a good head on her shoulders, and I feel like she's strong enough to take everything home with her. Yeah. Like, to me,
Do you have any more predictions? Should we go into predictions based off of this week?
Yeah.
I think we have to now.
And now,
music.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
Go ahead, Mackenzie.
Well, we see Tanya doesn't want to go to the workout, and Davet literally says to his team, Tanya isn't going to make it to the workout today. She's laying in bed. I have no idea what that's going to bring. So I don't have a prediction there. But Craig is saying no. He's in the pool with Jillian saying no.
That's funny, because wasn't he the one this week saying, I will do anything Jillian asked me to do?
That was the funniest thing. We both started cracking up.
Like, that's kind of cheesy, but whatever, Craig.
So he's in the pool saying, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. We're like, oh, hell no.
Whoa.
And then Rachel, it looked like to me there's going to be a huge weight loss thing. So I think it's her. I really think it's her, so that's my prediction. Rachel's going to lose an extraordinary amount.
Oh, my God. Well, my prediction is if Tanya is sleeping next episode, she's going to be going home very soon, because I'm hoping she's going to pull through, really kill it. And if she's not doing it yet, there's no more chances. So that wraps our episode. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, rate us, comment. Let us know what you're thinking of the season so far. What are your predictions? Tell us that on YouTube as well. And you can find me on Twitter at LO_VALLES, and Mackenzie.
You can find me on Twitter at McKenzie Fayne, Fayne.
All right. And that wraps our episode. We'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.